All right, this show is for you if you feel like you've been out there hustling, grinding, chasing to get weight loss. If you feel like my weight loss is stuck, that I am not getting anywhere I want, or I start and I can't seem to finish, listen up, listen up, listen up. Okay, so first place I want to come is that weight loss is not linear, right? It's not linear at all. So many of us have been sold a bill of goods that we should be losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. And if we're not losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, we suck. That is not the case, right? Weight loss, if I am losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, I've never lost weight before, right? I'm a virgin dieter, or maybe this is my first or second go round. But if I have been dieting since I was 15, your body's giving you the finger. Your body is like, girlfriend, I know exactly what you're doing. You're going to put your knee on my back and try to beat me into submission, and I am not going. So as I regularly hear this from my clients, like, it's not working. We need to come up to grips that weight loss isn't going to happen the way we want it. Weight loss isn't, a storybook. Weight loss isn't a Hallmark movie that we watch every single week and we know exactly the outcome. That's not how weight loss works. And as soon as we come to grips with that, that's not how it works. We will no longer be pissed off, disappointed, frustrated, kicking the wall, shaking our fists up to the heaven, right? The first place I want you to think about, you are not a failure. You are just doing something that's not working. And we keep doing the same thing, expecting more and more and more. And in order for you to get a change, you have to make a change, right? Because doing the same stuff over and over and over again, maybe you might get a little bit, but it's not going to last. And I don't know about you, but I'm done going for things that aren't going to really move the dial. I'm looking for things that I'm going to get a bang for my buck, and I'm going to find success. All right. So the first place I want to go is like, I need to be clear, like I need to be clear about where I'm going, but I need to be fluid in my approach, right? So many of us are very rigid in this is how it has to be. It has to look this exact way. And unfortunately, our bodies, like, they are a dynamic, evolving beast. There's no other word I can describe. If you got a better word, organism, is that it? It is a dynamic evolving, right? It adapts to what you give to it. If you are giving it not enough calories, it's going to adapt, and it's going to say, okay, I'm going to slow down your period. I'm going to slow down your digestion. I'm going to mess with your brain so you can't really think. I'm going to do that. So this podcast, I'm going to give you 6 ways to work through this process, right? 6 ways to help you to really assess what is going on. So the first place is we need to assess, right? For me, when someone tells me it's not working, my first question is, how do you know? How do you know it's not working? How are you assessing that it's not working? Because so many people will, I've been doing it for 2 weeks and I stepped on the scale, I got nothing, right? How do you know that it's not working? So first I want you to assess, like, what's working, what's not working. How are you measuring it? How are we measuring success? And are you open to change? I had a discovery call, a woman who was looking to potentially work with me. And she's like, Kim, I want to do a fitness competition. Great. Awesome. I can help you with that. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about what's your process right now. And she explained her nutrition. She explained that she doesn't sleep. She explained that, she has trouble. She's always bloated. So she doesn't really eat a lot because everything she eats pretty much bloats her. But she goes to the gym 2 hours a day. And I'm like, okay, first thing first, if you were to work with me, the first thing I would do is I would take away your 2-hour workouts. I would scale that way back so that we could figure out is it the overtraining that is keeping you from sleeping? And then once we kind of get a baseline of what's going on, then we can start to bring back in the training. But right now, for the first probably 60 to 90 days of us working together, I'm really going to scale back your workouts to see if that is why you're not sleeping. And maybe that's why your digestion is off. And you would have thought that I told her she had to give her firstborn child when I told her we're going to scale back her workouts. She just was not having it. Like, I was just like, I was not her favorite person at that point. And so that's where when we, as I work with a client, I need to ask, are you open for change? Are you willing to do that? Because you come to me and you say, hey, Kim, this is what I'm looking to do. Great, awesome. 9 times out of 10, I can help you. 9 times out of 10, I might not give you the answer you want to hear. And if you want someone who's going to go along with you and be your cheerleader, I am not that coach. I have spent over 15 years spinning my bleeping wheels, and I'm done. If you want to spin your wheels and keep trying to reinvent the wheel by doing the same stuff, thinking it's going to go differently, think you got to double down, then go rock on with your bad self. There's plenty of people that can help you out there. But if you're that person who's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done spinning my wheels. I'm done feeling like crap because I am not eating enough. I crap beating myself up because I can't go to the gym for 2 hours and I don't know how to stop. I'm here for all of that because that was me. That was who I was. I am on the other side of it. And trust me, life is so much freer when I'm not always thinking about what it is that I need to eat. How am I going to work out on vacation? How am I going to get this workout in and squeeze in, a business trip? Right? No, like I don't want to have those thoughts anymore. So the first place is that you got to be open to the change, right? Because I can give you so many great examples. I can give you so many different things, but if you're not willing to do it, then why ask for help, right? People come to me because they're at the end of the rope. And I remember when I was at the end of my rope, right? I was putting on 10 pounds a year for 3 years in a row, and everything I did it didn't change. And I remember when, the woman that I worked with, she was like, she saw me, she's like, I know what's going on with you. And I was like a big deep breath, it's like a big deep breath. And she's like, but you're going to have to go on this journey with me. You are going to have to do some things differently. Are you open to that? And of course I said yes. Right. And then she asked me, well, for at least 6 months, we're going to have you eat more plant-based foods. Then we're going to also have you not lift. You're just going to walk for at least 3 months. I mean, the air went out when she told me that, like the air went out of the room. And then she asked me, she said, okay, Kim, to see a change, you have to make a change. And so she's like, tell me what you've been doing. And I told her, and she's like, okay, so is that working? And I was like, it's not. And she goes, and what'd you do when you first realized it wasn't working? And I doubled down, right? I was like, then clearly, if I was eating a small amount of carbs, no carbs was definitely the way to go. If I was doing, 90 minutes that with an hour of cardio, then 2 hours was what was going to happen. So if you are that person who's like, well, I just will double down, I'll work harder, right? She taught me to work smarter, right? And now that I work smarter, I don't dread going to the gym. It fits into my life. I know I can make it fit into my life. I can make it fit into whatever the hell I'm doing because I learned how to be smarter. So I had to be flexible in my approach. The next place is that I had to understand what was going on. And then I had to decide that I wanted to explore, right? I wanted to explore what were the next steps. So when it was, can I explore being vegan for a little bit? Can I explore what it was like to not go to the gym 2 hours? I did, but I also had to explore with my eating. Was I eating because I was hungry, or was I eating because it was 10:30, right? I ate at 7:00, I ate at 10:30, I ate at 2, I ate at 4, and then I ate dinner, right? So was I eating because I was like Pavlov's dog, or was I eating because I was hungry? So that was like the first place. Then I had to look at my cravings. I had crazy cravings because I was doing 2 hours of cardio. So I was, your body is always looking for homeostasis. And homeostasis is a fancy talk for balance, right? It's always trying to find the balance in your body. And so because I was pushing so hard on the cardio side and not feeding it enough, the cravings were because it needed energy to keep up with me, right? I was outpacing my body. So I was craving primarily sugar, right? So I pretty much lived off of, in the afternoon, I would have a Rice Krispie treat because that gave me like the poof, like the 4 o'clock push up the hill to get through my evening clients, get through my evening workout, plus coffee. That's the, the nature of the beast. And then I had to look at my energy. I was always tired because I didn't set a bedtime. I wasn't as, disciplined as I am now with like lights out at this time, right? So I needed to get more back into, I had to look at my energy. So I had to understand like, where did I want to go? And then I had to look at specifically like, what was my energy like? What was my craving like? What was my hunger like? So that I can start to make better decisions. And if those are all firing on all cylinders, then great. You and I wouldn't be talking if everything there was firing on all cylinders. Something there is off. So then from there, I have to like unpack and be like, okay, so if I'm hungry, I got to look at my meals, right? What do my meals look like? What's my protein look like? What do my carbs look like? What do my good fats look like? So that's on the hunger side. Am I waiting too long between meals? Am I not drinking enough water? Then when it comes to cravings, it's like, what do my workouts look like? Am I like, going ham every single day, trying to crush every single workout? I also have to look at my sleep. Am I sleeping? Excuse me. They had the old adage, I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, that's just BS, right? Sleep does a body good. I want you to think about the best way I can describe sleep is that, most nights we charge our cell phones, right? So like right now, let me look at my cell phone. Right now, my battery is at 79%. And probably by the time I go to, bed, I might be at 40%, 30%. Now the phone will still operate, but will operate optimally. We all get that. If you have an iPhone, sorry, Android people, I don't know anything about Android. On my iPhone, it has what's called low battery mode. So it gets to a certain percentage and it's like, we got to start shutting some stuff down because we can't move all the dials when we don't have enough energy. That's your body. When you don't get enough sleep, when you consistently don't get enough sleep, your body shifts into low battery mode, right? And so it starts to shut things down. And I mentioned that earlier. It'll start to shut down your period. It will start to shut down your digestion. It will start to shut down like your thought patterns will be a little bit slower. I did get a good night's sleep, but yes, my thought patterns are a little bit slower right now. Same thing with stress. Many people are like, I can handle it. I totally can handle it. You can't. You've just learned to be more resilient with it. You've learned that this is just how life is and this is how I have to go, but you haven't really learned to manage it. So I really want you to say like, what, now that I've assessed it, now I'm taking a look to say, okay, under the hood, what's going on, right? So that we can start to have a little bit more prescriptive guidance there, so that we can start to decide our strategy, and also we can take action. One of the things I hear regularly is like, you know what, that sounds really good, but when the kids get back on a regular schedule, when work slows down, when, if you truly are in the pain, you truly are, I want this over, you'll do stuff right flipping now. And now here's the thing, you don't have to do everything. One of the things I always ask my clients, I'm like, you need to pick what feels challenging but doable for you right now, right? It could be, and what feels challenging and doable for me is different from you, that's different from Sharon, that's different from Jen. It's all of us have to make our decision. And so that way we can analyze and evaluate every time we make a move. We can say, okay, did that work? Right? We can say, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. And we can start to say how we can move forward. As I mentioned, it's like the goal doesn't have to change, but the approach does. Someone famous said that, but wasn't me. And so I want you to really start to like really tune into that. The goal doesn't have to change, but we have to change our approach from time to time. And that's okay. And so many of us get so vapor locked into, it has to look this way. This is the only way that it can look. And if it doesn't look this way, blah, blah, blah. No, that is malarkey. And James, I'm looking here because James Clear has a really good quote that I'm trying to find right now and talk to at the same time. That is making me nuts. I had it out and then I got sidetracked. But anyway, I'm going to keep going, and then I am going to remember the James Clear quote so that you can hear it. It hits you right in the face and slaps you in college just in the face. So it comes down to making experiments. And just because I try something doesn't mean I'm stuck with it, right? It just means that I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works for me. And sometimes you might fall flat on your face, and I found it. Sometimes you might fall flat on your face, and sometimes you might be like, hey, didn't think that would work. I want you to think about like the first person who ever said, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this oyster or a clam, right? Any of these foods that I'm like, who saw that and was like, delicious, or a lobster, like, who saw that? And so this is the quote from James Clear. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. This is what happens all the time, right? So you analyze what's going on. You've taken an assessment, and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to find the right way, the best way. Well, how do you know? How do you know what's the right way, what's the best way? Until I actually sit down and create, this is how I'm going to measure, right? What gets measured gets done. And these are my ballparks. I don't know if you've ever had any like lab work done, and say they're checking for vitamin D. And they'll be like, this is the low level, this is the middle level, and this is when you have a problem, right? Do you have those, checks and balances in your life when you say nothing's working? It's like, what's the low, what's the high, and how do you know what's in between? So it's all about creating these experiments. And, this summer I'm working with a number of women to create their own experiment for the summer. And here's the thing with experiments, you can always go back to doing what you were doing. But why wouldn't you, if you're complaining about something and you keep going back and doing the same thing, why wouldn't you want to try something new? What a concept, right? So doing the same thing will get you the same results. Bottom line, end of story, there's no pass and go, right? So don't worry about, don't worry about like getting it right. I did the same stuff for over a decade and it didn't get me anywhere. And, I doubled down thinking like harder was better, and it didn't work. So what I ended up having to do is I had to take a step back, right? I had to take a step back. And as I said, I had to course correct. And I want you to think about like an experiment is like, I don't know if you have lane assist in your car. So in my car, I have lane assist, and it's a indicator. Yeah. An indicator light in my dashboard. And so it literally shows me 2 green lines. And so when it sees the lines on the road and I'm right in the middle, it's like green lights, like, good job, Kim, you're on the right course. But then if I were to change lanes and not put my signal on, my steering wheel vibrates and it flashes at me to be like, hey girl, you're not in the right lane. So that's what we're looking at as we're making these assessments. Am I going down green light? The green light is on, or am I like drifting off and my steering wheel is vibrating and it's blinking in my dashboard, right? So you have to take a step back and ask yourself, are you tired of doing the same stuff and getting the same either so-so results or no results? Because, most women realize that. So most women never realize that trying to outwork your body, trying to work hard, to try to be like the badass it's like planting bulbs in the wintertime and expecting a few weeks later that your bulbs are going to bloom, right? Um, because working harder doesn't guarantee the success. You know, it's better to work on the things that you know that are going to give you the results. It's better to also give yourself that patience, that time, right? If you think about bulbs, most people plant bulbs in the fall. So September or October, you plant bulbs. And for many of us, we know we're not going to see a flower or even like a green leaf pop out until at least March, April, May, right? Depending on what it is that you planted. And do we go outside and we like dig it up and be like, is it working? Is it working? No, we have to trust. So that's the same thing that you have to do with your body. Is that we know the outcome that we want. And I know that I have to take these steps. I can't skip steps. So many of us want to start at A and be at N, and without doing the work. But every letter has a purpose. Just like on this weight loss journey, every step has a purpose. And for many people, it is about the consistency that gets you, right? So in order to be consistent, my Fit Girl Magic formula, in order for you to be consistent and get the results that you want, I got to take 2 steps back, and I got to, one, create habits, right? I got to create habits. Those habits are going to lead to routines. Once I have a routine, that's where I get consistency. And when I have consistency, that's when I'm going to get results, repeatable results, right? Many of you can crash diet and get results. But when you crash diet again, how many times before your body's like, oh, hell no, right? Where when you work with me, I'm like, how do we create this so that we are on autopilot? And so that from time to time, we might need to crank up the dial. And from time to time, we need to crank down the dial, right? But for the most part, we're in the middle lane with green lights. And from time to time, we get that beeping that says, hey, you didn't signal that now's the time that maybe I wanted to put on a little muscle, so we're going to eat a little bit more. You didn't signal that now's the time that, hey, I'm going to go on vacation. I want to scale it back a little bit more, right? I didn't put on any indicator lights for that. And so it kind of was like, hey, girl, right? So it wants to check in with you. So I really want you to start to think about that. When I know what I'm doing, when I create my own personal experience, that is how I gain my confidence. So that right now you have a choice, right? You can continue chasing your tail with nothing to show for it. And that's actually how like most women go through life. They're like, well, this got too hard, so I'm just going to go back over here and do what I always do because I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get disappointment. I know I'm going to get pissed off. I know that. And I'm expecting it. So why would I try to do something different? Right. And hopefully you hear the passion in my voice, because I was that girl. You might be that girl who's like, I know I need to eat 5 meals. I know that I need to have 3 protein shakes a day. I know that I need to be on the Stairmaster for an hour. I know. But do you know, right? Do you know, or is it the only thing you know? And so this summer, I'm asking people, go on an experiment with me. Go on an experiment with me for 66 days. Go on an experiment with me so that we're going to learn unsexy things, right? Habits aren't sexy, but having great habits give you the sexy things you want. Having great habits gives you the flat abs without me saying, let's do 1,000 crunches. Being sexy gives you the ability to go out and have fun with your family without saying, I shouldn't be eating this ice cream, so tomorrow morning I'm going to, walk my butt off, right? That's where I'm trying to go. Because if you are done chasing your tails and you're finally ready to take the steps and figure out what is the outcome, what are the steps that work for me, not for Julie, not for Janie, that work for you, and you want a challenge to help you get started, then the Stress-Free Summer starts on June 13th. And that is where we're going to learn how to build that great habit, so that those habits build you into routines. Those routines build the consistency, and the consistency ultimately build your success. Because if I don't have great habits, I'm not going anywhere. And for many of you, you know that I'm such a big proponent of habits, because I was always in the habit of doing hard, and hard sucked. Hard made me always quit. Hard made me always quit on myself. Hard made me always start all over again. Hard made me always feel like a failure. And I want you to feel like a winner. I want you to have a few wins under your belt. I want you to start to realize that like anything is possible if I have great habits. And my habit, Kim's habits, don't necessarily have to be your habits. And it's really sitting down and deciding what are the habits that I want to create. And throughout the course of 66 days with me, we're going to figure out what your lane is, right? Talk about lane assist, what your lane is. Are you like that person who's in the fast lane, going as fast as you can, and you don't really, you're good? Maybe you're in the middle of the road, or maybe you're in you're in the middle lane, and maybe you're in the slow lane, and that's okay, right? Because we all have different times of life, right? I've talked with you regularly about seasons, right? We all have seasons. Some of us are spring, in our spring right now, some of us are in our summer, some of us are in our winter, some of us are in our fall. And here's where we have to decide. We have to make peace with that. We have to make peace with the season that we're in and stick with it, and not look around the corner and be like, how come she's doing that and I'm not doing it? How come she got that and I don't? No, this is the lane I chose, and I'm going to put my blinders on. So if you want to come on that journey with me, and you're done chasing your tails, and you want to take the steps to figure out the you plan, right? The plan so that you don't feel like you're always getting it wrong, that you're always feeling like a failure. Come on the journey with me, right? My hand's extended. Come on out. Come with me. All right. All the information is in the show notes, and I will talk to you next week.